I'm meteorologist Carley Gomez talking here about the bomb cyclone. As of 7 p.m. Pacific time, we are seeing the bomb cyclone here moving along the coastline and now inland into most valley spots from areas of the Oregon-California state line border there all the way into the Central Valley. We do anticipate it moving as far south as areas of San Clemente. The biggest issue with the bomb cyclone is, of course, how strong the system is and how intense the winds have already become ahead of the storm system. Some of the strongest wind gusts reaching around 40 to 50 miles per hour. We could see some of the peak wind gusts as we start getting closer toward about 9 to 11 p.m. As a lot of the rain has passed, we do anticipate seeing some more strong winds pushing through. Let's talk bomb cyclone. A lot of people have big questions. What is it? Why does it sound so nasty or scary? Well, it is. It's a rapidly intensifying system here that moves in close, drops about 24 millibars in 24 hours, or even more than that, meaning strong low pressure system arriving. We're currently seeing a lot of that heavy rain pushing through already. A big system or portion of the system here with big downpours now moving toward Modesto. So we are seeing that as about 7 p.m. A lot of that heavy rain approaching I-5, making it very dangerous, of course, for a lot of travelers, anyone on the road, motorists there. Let's understand low pressure. Any storm system of circulation is a low pressure system as opposed to a high pressure system. As it circulates there, you often typically see any real storm that moves through as a low pressure system. And often people don't know this, but hurricanes, they're low pressure systems, just very low pressure systems that form the eye of the storm. And that's usually more indicated with a hurricane, where you see that really nice pronounced eye. In a low pressure system like the bomb cyclone, you can actually see the eye there too. But low pressure, well, that's going to equal higher wind speeds. The lower the pressure, the higher the winds. Now, the lower the pressure also makes more dangerous of the storm system. That's why when we talk categories in a hurricane, the number 5 or the Cat 5 storm system has the lowest of the pressure, but also the strongest winds, making it more dangerous for us on shore. Now, this bomb cyclone is also being coupled now with an atmospheric river, making this very dangerous. Not only are we seeing the strong winds with it, and typically with storms you do get rain, but the atmospheric river that adds that extra punch there. That Pineapple Express that comes in off Hawaii is now being drug into the system. When we see this, it's now bringing us an added moisture, and the storm system itself is going to dump rain with dangerous flooding potential for us, for those creeks, those rivers, those streams, even your urban local neighborhoods there. We see that the bomb cyclone really is that drop of 24 millibars of pressure or even higher or I should say 24 millibars or lower in 24 hours. Now, it's rapidly intensifying. That's what makes this dangerous, that it happens so quickly. It's when we start seeing that warm air, the Pineapple Express, mixing now with the polar air from the north. And this creates really strong gusts that could resemble hurricane force winds, but is not a hurricane. One, it's not out of the subtropics. Two, the speeds of these winds don't really meet the criteria to create a hurricane. Let's talk more about that and the categories here. Now, if we were just comparing the hurricane strength to the millibars in pressure, well, we could talk Cat 2, Cat 3 when it comes to the bomb cyclone, because typically when we see these wind speeds, a Cat 1 of 74 to 95 miles per hour winds sustained for a period of time is what makes something a Cat 1, and then so on and so forth with all the different wind speeds. Now, typically, a hurricane will also have a certain millibar in pressure. Now, this bomb cyclone has been right around 969 millibars. That would put it at a Cat 2. It's projected and forecast to reach about 959 millibar pressure, which would make it a Cat 3 hurricane if it was a hurricane at all. But this just puts it into perspective for you. But of course, hurricanes are more determined by the wind speeds themselves than the actual millibars in pressure. So just wanted to lay this out for you. When we're looking at the storm systems, we don't usually get hurricanes here in California, but we do get strong storms that usually come into the Pacific Northwest, dragging in that atmospheric river. All right, talking peak wind gusts. So far, we've seen some of the winds now peaking around 40 miles per hour, 45 miles per hour. Some of the spots here about 52 in Placerville, and some are just not on the map, right? So you just see kind of openings here. You can usually try to gauge these right around 50 to 70 mile per hour wind gusts, and that's actually what's expected as we start approaching anywhere from 9 to 11 p.m., some of the stronger winds. Now, as we also take a look at the atmospheric rivers. We have a series of them to go through with you. Just take a look at the Hawaiian Islands. Just above that, you see a lot of warm air. And this is where our storm systems get all their moisture. They're sucking in the moisture from these atmospheric rivers, the warm air that's been circulating around the islands. Now, this one, for instance, has been drug in here into our current low pressure system and will continue to move through today. We have one from Friday into Saturday, then Saturday night into Sunday. After that, another system, Monday to Tuesday, and they just keep stacking up. They continue to line up in sequence here, and you just need the right storm system to really drag them in. They could be stronger if they kind of get pulled into a rotation there, a circulating low pressure system, bringing us that rain. Now, they don't really get caught in. They kind of just come over and fizzle out. But what can also happen is it becomes lighter. But with the circulation, that could create more rain bands circulating into our area and could sit over us longer. We actually did see that for New Year's Eve. That storm system really began to slow as the storm pulled in an atmospheric river and sat over the area for some time. A big one out there at sea Saturday, January 14th. That one's a little scary looking. You can actually see the heat behind that as it's just there west of Honolulu, the Hawaiian Islands there, and then could potentially be a big force of disaster. But of course, this is still a week out or so, so we have a lot of time and a lot happens. Whether that gets some help from a low pressure system or kind of starts to fizzle out, it's all atmosphere related, out of our control completely. We just track them and try to give our best forecast ensembles on what could happen in the direction they head. All right, let's see here what we're looking at in terms of watches, warnings, advisories in our area. They really run the gamut. We've been looking at flooding, high winds, winter weather. We're seeing it all. The excessive flooding here is possible with the flash flood watch until about 4 o'clock on Thursday. We're seeing that just closer toward the areas of the coastal range, but for most of the valley spots, we could see this just until 7 a.m. That's going to bring potential for mudslides, debris flows, and especially some areas over burn scars could see some excessive flooding as well as some landslides. Now, we're also going to be looking at the potential for those rising rivers, creeks, and streams. With all of this extra water, it has to go somewhere. It gets funneled into the drainage canals, and then we see rising rivers as well as those creeks and streams. Now, poor drainage is possible for the neighborhoods. I mean, there's only so much water that can go into one drainage area at a time. So it's going to start backing up a little bit. So hopefully we've gotten a lot of those leaves cleared out of the area. Now, we are looking and talking about damaging winds with a high wind warning in effect until Thursday afternoon. That's 4 p.m., really running all through California. The system is expected to head all the way through Southern California late Thursday night into Friday. And we are looking at some of the sustained winds, 25 to 40 miles per hour. We could see some of the stronger gusts as high as 70 miles per hour. We are looking at downed trees already. We've seen the reports. Power lines are downed. We're also looking at widespread power outages. They're already happening, and they could continue to happen through tomorrow and even through the weekend as we continue to get the series of storms moving through. This is creating also some difficult travel conditions out there, so please be aware of that and try to plan out the timing here on when you're driving. If you don't need to be driving, just wait the system out. All right, now let's talk heavy snow. Really what we're looking at is 2 to 3 feet above 6,000 feet through the weekend. Now through tonight, not too much snow really accumulates. This is a very warm system, but we are going to get a few inches, maybe 6 inches or so through the passes in the overnight into tomorrow. And then finally a few feet of snow through the weekend. Now we are looking at gusty winds still there as well as whiteout conditions. Now we're going to start getting some breaks. As of 3 a.m., you notice we get a break in the next band of that rain coming through. This here break causes some cooling to happen in the overnight hours, meaning there is a chance to see some potential for thunderstorms and strong winds picking up. We will see more rain pushing through for the 8 a.m. commute. You notice that from Chico all the way down towards Stockton. And then we'll continue to see that rain band push through. You're already looking at some of the snow there. The snow level will drop just a little bit down to about right around 3,500, 4,000 feet early morning. And then we're going to start to see it rise once again. We get some clearing into Thursday night, just briefly before the next system set to arrive into your Friday scattered showers and then more solid rain by late Friday night. So all of our 10-day forecasts have a raindrop on them, yes, because whether or not it's early morning, scattered showers, or heavy downpours, at some point in time, someone is getting rain. Now, by Saturday, 2 p.m., you are seeing another system arriving, that next atmospheric river pulling in along the coastline, and it's expected to bring quite a bit of that rain. Now, just the storm from Wednesday to Thursday night is expected to bring as much as 1.5 to 2 inches of rain from the valley toward the foothills. Then you accumulate another about 1.5 inches or so, and by Sunday afternoon, we could see as much as 2.5 inches to about 4.5 inches or so near Redding. So this is a lot of rain in a very short amount of time. The soils will not have a lot of time to recoup, to drain out the water. So we are looking at a dangerous situation. When we talk trees, talk about power lines, those things can come down quickly. It might not even be raining. Just how much rain and how much inundation is in that soil could cause those trees to topple over. So please be careful out there driving, walking on sidewalks, that kind of thing. We are expected to get a lot of rain in the next 4 days. All right, talking into Monday, more rain again headed our way as we could see another additional 1/2 inch to 1.5 inches of rain from Monday to Tuesday. Let's talk snowfall totals here as we look at our GFS model. That could bring us just into Friday as much as 1 to 1.5 feet, and that's about 2 storm systems pushing through or so, maybe 1.5, I should say. But by Monday, that could bring the totals closer. You're looking there at about 50 inches possible at Truckee, 54 Twin Bridges. So this is a lot of snow in a short amount of time. In the next 4 days, we could see about 2 to 3 feet and even higher totals toward next week. Looking at the temperatures, though, a lot of the temperatures aren't changing too much. Right around the upper 40s to mid to low 50s. It's a warmer system, so we don't expect to be too cold in this system. But we are looking at overnight lows very close to the daytime highs, which is pretty interesting because you are looking at a lot of cloud coverage sitting over us and really not a lot of time for cool air to move in, which is nice considering it's winter. We're not freezing. And if there is a power outage, hopefully you won't be too cold out there. Now, the 10-day forecast does show we do have some chances Thursday as well as into Friday to potentially see some thunderstorm chances. But after that, we are looking at scattered showers and rain through next week.